Hey and welcome to the Daily Arsenal News Show. Let's begin with our daily news. Darren Bent reacts to Arsenal signing Jorginho on a transfer deadline day. Darren Bent has told TalkSport that Jorginho was probably the best midfielder Arsenal could get on a transfer deadline day, though he would understand fan frustrations had the Chelsea star been their first choice all along. The Italian was the marquee addition for Mikel Arteta's man on the final day of the January window. The move came largely out of nowhere, with reports of their interest only emerging on Monday evening. Of course, the move for Jorginho came about after Arsenal filed with two bids for Moises Caicedo. As noted by The Athletic, the second offer was worth up to £70 million. Jorginho, meanwhile, has arrived for just £12 million. The news concerned a lot of Arsenal fans. The Gunners are fighting for the Premier League title, and this is obviously their final opportunity to strengthen the squad. Bent admitted that he would empathize with supporters who were unhappy if Arsenal had gone for Jorginho all along. However, he actually believes that the Gunners have made a very smart decision, all things considered. He told TalkSport the following: "I think it's a really shrewd signing. He is played in big games, the Euros final, he won the Champions League, the Europa League. There is times when Arsenal are winning games and you want them to have a bit of possession and keep the ball moving, and there is nobody better than him at doing that. Put it this way, if there was a big pool of midfield players and Arsenal had a lot of money and they could have whoever they wanted and they opted for Jorginho, I would then go, what are you doing? But the fact of the matter is they tried to get Caicedo. That didn't work. They have filtered it with a few others they have not managed to get over the line. He is the next best one that's available. Arsenal did not necessarily need to sign another midfielder. If they are lucky with injuries, Arteta may not need to make a raft of changes, with Thomas Partey, Granit Xhaka and Martin Odegaard forming such an impressive unit. Therefore, they did not necessarily need to break the bank to sign Caicedo in this window. Ultimately, Caicedo is still developing, and therefore, there are not many guarantees that the 21-year-old will reach his frightening full potential in the next few months. Jorginho is not a long-term signing. He is not an exciting signing given some of the other names linked, but he ticks a number of boxes for what Arsenal need right now. Sambi Lokonga joined Crystal Palace on loan. Arsenal midfielder Albert Sambi Lokonga has officially joined Crystal Palace on loan for the rest of the season. Since making the move to Arsenal, Lokonga has struggled to find regular minutes with the first team. The excellent form of Thomas Partey and Granit Xhaka this season has played a huge part, and his development is currently stalling due to not playing football. His performances when being given the chance haven't been good enough for Mikel Arteta to give him more of a chance in the team, and he is now left the club on loan. Crystal Palace have officially announced the signing of Lokonga on loan until the end of the season. Lokonga is still young and has plenty of years ahead of him, so it shouldn't be a permanent goodbye to Arsenal fans. In the long term, Lokonga could still play a huge part for Arsenal, but this loan spell at a fellow Premier League club will be pivotal in deciding his future. If Lokonga struggles at Palace, then Arsenal may consider cutting their losses and offloading Lokonga in the summer, but there is also a chance he impresses and rejoins the first team squad next season. Fulham signed Cedric Soares on loan for the rest of the season. Fulham have completed the signing of Arsenal defender Cedric Soares. Cedric has struggled to find regular game time in the last few years at Arsenal. The emergence of Ben White as a right back this season, with Takahiro Tomiyasu as a backup, has meant that Cedric has fallen even further down the pecking order at Arsenal. David Ornstein confirmed that the deal taking the Arsenal defender to Fulham on loan is for the rest of the season. They are going to cover Cedric's wages. Hopefully, the move to Fulham will allow Cedric to reignite his career after stagnating slightly in the last few years at Arsenal. Ornstein reported that Fulham had to secure a permanent signing of one of their current loan players in order to get a deal over the line for Cedric, which would surely give the Portuguese defender a confidence boost knowing Fulham were desperate to get this one over the line. The move makes sense for all parties, considering Cedric wasn't going to get a game for Arsenal. Arsenal staff very impressed by Charlie Patino's form this season. The Athletic reports that Arsenal staff have been left very impressed by their youngster Charlie Patino this season, who is currently out on loan at Blackpool. Mikel Arteta's men managed to bring in a midfielder yesterday after the club snapped up Jorginho from their London rivals Chelsea. The Gunners were chasing a deal for Moises Caicedo, but Sky Sports reports that Brighton knocked back two bids for the 21-year-old. Caicedo would have certainly fitted Arsenal's profile of signing younger players with huge potential, but it seems the club are impressed with one of their own talents coming through the ranks in Patino. The youngster joined Championship outfit Blackpool on a season-long loan deal over the summer, and he is certainly benefiting from playing regular first-team football, and it seems that Patino's form has caught the attention of staff at Arsenal. Arsenal have been really impressed with Patino's form in the Championship this season, according to The Athletic, but there were no talks over the possibility of recalling him as the Gunners searched for a new midfielder towards the end of the window. Patino has been a standout performer in a struggling Blackpool side this season, as they currently sit second from bottom. The 19-year-old has managed to register 3 goals and 2 assists in 23 appearances from the middle of the park. Of course, Arsenal look likely to dip into the market for a new midfielder once again over the summer, with the likes of Declan Rice named as a possible target, but Patino will be hoping to return to North London at the end of the season and stake his claim for a place in Arteta's squad. Arsenal were ready to trigger €60 million transfer deal for Zubimendi. Summer deal could be possible. Arsenal were reportedly ready to trigger the €60 million release clause in Martin Zubimendi's release clause this January, but the Real Sociedad midfielder preferred to wait until the summer for a transfer. The Spain international has shown in La Liga and looks like he'd be a good fit for Mikel Arteta's style of football, but in the end, a deal couldn't be done this winter, as reported by The Athletic. Zubimendi was one of a number of options considered by Arsenal before they moved to bring in Jorginho from Chelsea, with The Athletic also claiming they considered Ajax midfielder Edson Alvarez. It will be interesting to see if Arsenal try again for Zubimendi this summer, and one imagines that will depend on the availability of other targets. A recent report from The Telegraph suggested Arsenal could be ready to invest huge money in both Moises Caicedo and Declan Rice, so perhaps they will be prioritized ahead of Zubimendi, though it remains to be seen how realistic it is for the club to back both of these big names. For now, Jorginho looks a very solid short-term option for Arsenal, as they add depth and experience to a youthful squad chasing a surprise Premier League title. Gunners may have ruined the chance to sign Moises Caicedo. Arsenal may have now ruined their chance of signing Moises Caicedo in the summer. That's according to a report from The Athletic, which has highlighted how Arsenal tried to sign the Brighton midfielder. Mikel Arteta's side ended the January transfer window with the 3 new additions. Leandro Trossard arrived from the Amex earlier in the window, and Jakub Kiwior was signed from Spezia in Italy. Jorginho was Arsenal's only deadline day arrival after completing a £12 million move from Chelsea. However, it appears as though the Italian international wasn't Arsenal's first choice in midfield. Arsenal spent the last week of the transfer window trying to sign Caicedo from Brighton. They ended up making 2 bids for the £80 million star, but Brighton were unwilling to negotiate. The player made it clear he wanted to leave and released a statement thanking Brighton but asking if he could go. Roberto De Zerbi's side refused and instead asked him to stay away from training until the transfer window had shut. Arsenal may now have ruined their chances of signing Caicedo in the future. Brighton have been less than impressed with the Gunners in the past few days. The report from The Athletic states that the Caicedo saga has soured Brighton's respect for the North London club after the cordial negotiations between them over the sales of Ben White and Trossard weakening Arsenal's position in terms of any future interest in more of Brighton's star players. His destination when he does leave is less likely to be Arsenal now. They have dropped down the pecking order of clubs Brighton feel comfortable about engaging with regularly. Caicedo is incredibly highly rated, and Arsenal clearly thought they had a chance to bring him in last month. However, Brighton have stood their ground and maintained their stance that the Ecuadorian isn't for sale. The Seagulls are on course for their best ever season in the top flight and didn't want to lose one of their key men. Arsenal will be hoping that they have not ruined their chances of signing Caicedo or any other Brighton players in the future. Arsenal will definitely make a move for Declan Rice in the summer. Arsenal's focus with respect to transfer is apparently on West Ham United star Declan Rice after they missed out on signing Brighton and Hove Albion midfielder Moises Caicedo yesterday. The Gunners went into transfer deadline day looking for a new central midfielder. Caicedo was on top of their wish list, but after they found out a deal wasn't possible, they brought in Jorginho. In the summer, however, Arsenal are all set to move for Rice. Arsenal had two failed bids for Moises Caicedo in the days leading up to transfer deadline day. The first one, according to Sky Sports, was £60 million and the second £70 million. Brighton turned down both offers without any hesitation and made it clear to Arsenal that Caicedo was not for sale. The Gunners had no choice but to move on, and Jorginho was the man. Mikel Arteta's side could well go back in for Caicedo in the summer, but according to Dean Jones, West Ham star Declan Rice is the man they will definitely bid for. The journalist told Give Me Sport the following: "The Declan Rice interest is very serious, I am told. I was very doubtful about the authenticity of that rumor at first, but I have checked it out several times with different sources, and they are definitely going to have a crack at signing him." Rice will enter the final year of his Hammers contract in the summer. Arsenal's focus right now is to go and win the Premier League title. The Gunners are 5 points clear of Manchester City at the top of the table despite playing a game less. They are in a great position to go all the way, and Jorginho could help them to do that. In the summer, however, they will have to go big on a new midfielder, and who is better than Rice, one of the best players in his position in the entire Premier League. Arsenal will definitely face tough competition for Rice in the summer, but they should back themselves to sign the 24-year-old, especially if they win the title. I will be uploading daily Arsenal news show, so keep your eyes on the channel and don't forget to like and subscribe. I appreciate your support. Peace out.